All right, everyone, let's take a look at the charts on BigBear.ai to see what we're seeing after today having an 18.32% up astoundingly since when it touched its 200 EMA that I said it was going to be a very critical moment. We should see a very decent bounce from that. That's exactly what we're seeing so far. We'll talk about what opportunities, if any, lay ahead from here and what to watch out for, the different levels that we should be watching as well. And the ones that I've shared already have held up, and we'll see how they look going forward from here. So without further ado, let's pop into the chart on this thing. We are looking at the daily chart on BigBear.ai Stock. So this is 1D, every candle being 1 day. So what we see going back here to this little tiny green candle on Friday the 7th is that touch that we got on the 200 EMA, and then we've gotten a push back up since the time. So this thing bottomed out. That low price on this was $5.29 before peaking north. Let me see, $7.40 was the high price, closing today at $7.17. And if I put my technicals up for a moment and we'll shrink that down and move it across, and I have it right here for you. It's one of these price notes, 835, 677. Boom, there it is. 717. There's that number closed on the dot at that resistance. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to turn this one right here because of what we saw intraday. I'm going to turn that green for support because today, during the market hours, let's drop down to the 15-minute chart. You can see that tag that we got where this was formerly red for resistance. We broke up above it. We came down, retested as support, bounced. But you'll notice the next rectangle up, now that we're looking at the 15-minute candles here, that is still resistance for us. I said there was massive, historic, heavy resistance at 735. We peaked twice at 740, couldn't quite hold it. So if I shrink this thing up enough, there's that 735 number. It is critical that we sit on top of 735. If we do, this thing could open up in the very near future to $8.35. One of the things that might be helping to push things along, besides the earnings that they had, which have been received positively, and the acquisition that they announced with Ask Sage, which could be very fruitful for them as well, would be the idea that there could be, well, now it does deepen the connections with the U.S. government, by the way, to include that Ask Sage. Now, besides that, with the vote tonight for the government shutdown to end. That's recording this at 4:37 p.m. Eastern time, and it's supposed to be after 5 o'clock. That could be very good for a company like BigBear.ai that's hoping for that big fat cash stack, a lot of deals coming their way from the big beautiful bill. And if that does indeed happen, that's going to be pretty darn wild for them, and we should finally see that 2-digit price tag at $10 plus come out for them. I think that still puts us in that range of 10 to 15, depending on what deal we get, if any, from that big beautiful bill money. So the more we get, the more the merrier is the idea here. And BigBear.ai goes bonkers off of just a little bit of news at a time. So getting something huge like that, which would be that massive funding, especially if it broadens their partnerships rather than having that narrow focus and that concentration risk, that should be very good for them as well. So putting this back up here for you, what other things do we have to look at besides just the price action? Well, today, one thing that we want to look at is the volume that we got, because that 18% move went with on above average volume, especially over these past few days where we saw that resting and settling, and then we're seeing that we're getting some of that accumulation coming back in as well. Now, mind you, it's not as big as the selling pressure that we've had before with all these high volumes, but other times when we've had a lot of buying, we had the technicals, and let's balance out the volumes with the candles a little bit here. Perfect. You can see on similar volume the sort of climb that we made when that took us from down below $5 per share and peaked up over $8 per share. That was a pretty wild movement that we saw, and this could be that beginning of that with that volume move that we see. Now, as for the moving averages, we are up above the 50, the 13, the 5, and also up above the 200. So the fact that all three of these faster moving averages are above the 200 is a bullish thing. The price action is above the 200 EMA. That's also a bullish thing. The fact that the price action is also above all three of these moving averages is also very bullish for us. We want to see a 513 cross. Did it happen today? No. We were 7 cents shy of the 5-period EMA crossing over the 13 period. That's a small bullish sign. The bigger one is if we can get these yellow and green moving averages to cross over the red. If we can do that, that is a mega bullish sign to see yellow and green cross over red. So the yellow is the 13, pushing that up over the 50, puts us back in a very bullish territory. We could be seeing that volume pump in order to do it. Let me put those candles back up there for you, and I'll stretch the volume back out because I want to go down here to the RSI, because that is freshly up above 50, so 55.88 on a daily basis. And so we see that cross back up into bullish territory with the move that we saw today after this thing settled down. Now, where does that put us on longer period charts, such as the weekly chart? Well, we boinged off of 48.78 is what we had last week, and then moving into this week, we're back into 56.91, so freshly bullish. And for the moving averages that we do have a 200-week EMA on here, but not for too many weeks, but it's been up there. So we're above that. That's bullish, above the 50, 5 above the 13. The perfect bullish structure, especially with the price action also being above it. Pay attention to these wicks. They're going to be very important to us when we look at the monthly chart. So that's something very good for us to see so far. We do want to see the momentum rise up above what we previously had, and it would also be nice to see some sustained volume to match the price action that we see to continue that confirmation that we're headed in a bullish direction. Now, if we do go out to a monthly chart, the blue line is going to disappear, not because we're that far above or below it, but because it doesn't exist yet. We don't have 200 months into this thing. If you give me just a moment here, I can show you how many months we have. So there's month 1 all the way over here. We currently have 55 bars, so the 50 month is about what we get so far for BigBear.ai stock. We don't even have the 100 month on this thing, but the 5 month is above the 13, is above the 50. Wildly bullish for us. And if you take a look at the 13 month crossing the 50, that's that bullish sign I was talking about. And look at the price pump that we had that followed that crossover and the volume that accompanied it. Now, I talked about the high wicks. Look at the selling pressure that happens. Right up here's the price action where there's a blue and a green line coming across your screen right here. The only thing recently that's north of that line is selling pressure. So this is exactly what we face here. It's going to take momentum to push us up over, and we could have that fresh moment that allows us to do that. But as soon as we start to hit the mid 8s, we really start to hit the first peak here, all the way up to just north of 10 like we saw back in February of this year, before quickly retracing back down. So we peaked up over 10 and then pushed all the way down to a price on this thing of $2.36. And by the next month I was covering it. But you can see the sort of support we're getting off of the 13-month EMA. This is huge for us so far. The 5 might not be that indicative, but certainly the 13, since this thing started running at the end of 2024 into 2025, that 13-month has been that moving average to watch. So we absolutely want to see that keep happening. Now, mind you, October actually had some pretty massive volume to it as well. It's a green candle because the open was slightly lower than close. I should say it closed slightly higher than it opened for October. We didn't have the same. We had 63% going back to June when we had this volume, and then we dropped about 6.5% for July. And then for October, this big volume that we see here, lots of contention around here. That price, we happen to get about 6% back onto that price. Right now we sit at about 3.6% in November for BigBear.ai stock. Now for the momentum is ripely at 62.91. So we do not see overbought on the daily chart. We don't see overbought on the weekly chart. We don't see overbought on the monthly chart. Right now, all of it is suggesting that the momentum is fresh to keep on pumping, and we have some volume confirmation to do it. We do have to sit on, well, first of all, we have to break the 717, as that is the bottom of the resistance area. We also want to sit on top of the resistance area of $7.35. If we can sit on top of $7.35, we do have room up to $8.35. So that could be another dollar on top of it, which is about another 15% or so climb from where it currently resides. And then we have to reassess with what we have in terms of momentum, in terms of volume, in terms of price action. We have to kind of take it all in and digest what exactly it is that we see. Now, did we have any indication that we were going to get this breakout? That would go back to an earlier video that I made when I talked about this 15-minute chart. I may have had it on the hourly chart, but certainly the 15 it does a very nice display of this. And that was this descending wedge pattern that you see, which is a bullish reversal pattern. And we peekabooed a couple times out of it, but it wasn't until we actually had a bit of a volume push going into, let me see, it looks like it was into Tuesday of this week. Monday into Tuesday is where we started to see this thing move. Volume spike on Tuesday, even bigger getting into today. And once again, you see that rejection right at about that 735. So why are we seeing that? Something I want you to pay attention to besides the different technicals that are on here. I'm actually going to hide a lot of that stuff because I really want to draw your attention in here. And let's also put down the rectangles, and we're going to reset that. And if we bring up the most recent Fibonacci retracement from the last peak that we had all the way down to the bottom of that trough, today we tagged the 5 the 0.5, the 50% retracement, if you will. So we made it 50% of the way back up, which happens to be at 734, which is 1 penny shy of where my resistance is with these rectangles at $7.35. So a lot of coincidence there between the technicals that I've had for pretty sure it's going on weeks, if not months by now, for these rectangles. And man, they just keep on panning out for us. If we don't sit on top of 734, we might have to try 686 back out. It might just happen. If we're able to capture that 734, 735, which does overtake this previous peak that you see over here as well, which is a minor peak. Remember, all north of here is selling pressure. 782 is a minor stopping point for us, which happens to be the 618, which is also a key Fibonacci retracement level. We absolutely want to keep watching for that to see what exactly that can give us. Now, one other thing, and I don't think that I have this one drawn on here. I might, but it might be tied up with a lot of other Fibonacci retracements as well. It looks like I don't actually have it on. One thing that we can see, though, I'll show you this while I have all the retracements up. Look at the clustering that we have right around here that goes from 717 all the way up to 734. Let me stretch that out. There we go. And what you'll notice, look at that wick that we had today that covers that entire thing. So this is what I'm talking about for when you get that clustering of those moving averages, that, yeah, when you zoom out, it looks like a royal mess. And you're like, Doc, what exactly am I supposed to do with that? Well, zoom in, analyze, and see if there's something there. What you'll notice is when we don't have that clustering is when we get these free rise and free fall gaps where it happens pretty darn quickly. And it actually took a bit of momentum. We got a lot of speed taken off of this when we hit that first bottom cluster down here. But we did hold on to the 5 EMA as support. And then today, tested the 5, found out it was the floor, and the sky was the limit here as we ran off. So further confirmation that we want to look northward if we can sit on top of that 734. According to the Fibonacci retracement, we have 782 and 785 up north of that we absolutely are getting. I mean, the fact that there's two of them there, a 786 and a 618, that could at least be a stop for us on the way up to this next cluster that goes from 835 to 872. And once again, there's a lot of selling pressure up here. A lot of sellers come in, even though we were just at a point where there were a lot of buyers. Now, mind you, we have fresh information. We have fresh momentum. It doesn't mean, that actually could mean, I should say, that if we can sit on top of 734, if we can show that we own that we're holding that as support, that should be enough of a rocket ship to push us up to this next cluster, which is going to take a lot of speed, a lot of momentum off of the movement that we have as well. And it really depends on what we get there. You can see the last time that we got up to this level, and then, well, I should say 2 times ago when we tagged that $8.35, man called it there. And then also look at the speed, like when we came running right back at it, like we smashed through it, had an indecisive day, and then sold off big time after that and ran back down to under $5 per share with all this speed being taken off. It just couldn't quite get there. So I'm going to take those down for a moment because I do want to draw one more Fibonacci retracement on here that I started talking about. There's the one, and we're going to take that all the way to the bottom there. 58 cents. Could you imagine snagging this thing at 58? If you guys got this thing under $1, let me know. That'd be great to hear from you. So zooming back out on this thing, where do we fall for these overall lines, these very long-term lines that you see? Now, mind you, just that line, just that Fibonacci retracement that was done being drawn by December of 2022, still when we came to this level that's up here, and I'll tell you exactly what that is, when we came to this 618 level, look where we got that rejection. That was absolutely massive at that level, and I think non-coincidental. That is definitely a technical level to see. And then you'll also notice just by that one Fibonacci retracement, look at this 50% Fibonacci level of $8.35. When I said that we can make the climb back up there, we definitely can, but there's a lot of reasons why we're getting that selling pressure in here, and it's because we haven't yet sat on top of the 618 or the 50% Fibonacci levels. And, well, we just need to. If we're going to make a climb higher, you can absolutely see what happens when we fail to hold on to them as support. We sell off big time. We sell off big time. We sell off big time. But I will say that the bottoms are starting to climb up. The tops are starting to climb up as we look on this. And that is, my friends, that's a very bullish thing in order to see these higher lows come in, to see these higher highs put in. Maybe it's taken longer than we want, but since when does the market care about what we want? Am I right? Now, Mario, if the market does care what you want, please let me know in the description. Say the market cares what I want, and it does exactly what I want it to do all the time. because you and I should be best friends. Matter of fact, I'll bring you on the channel if the market always does exactly what you want it to do, and you should most certainly be one of the richest people in the world, and I'm happy to join you in that process. Otherwise, it's going to be a game of statistics, and we'll have to look around at these technicals. Now, if you guys want to learn how to draw these technicals, if you want to learn how to trade using these technicals, there's coursework through StockMo Academy. Down in the description, StockMo, Mrs. Mo, they're personal friends of mine that they started up the YouTube thing before I did, and they pulled me into the game as well. And I'll tell you what, with the passion of finance that I have, with my training in mathematics, my training in education, I absolutely love doing this as well. Those courses I've vetted myself, they are top notch. There's one for technical analysis and trading, and then there's another one for options trading. If you really want to amplify the alpha in your portfolio through options, you can absolutely do it. I had a Chipotle option today. I think it was up over 200%. So over 3xing for me. Picked it up for 35 cents, or what comes out to $35 when you multiply by 100. And that thing doubled and then went up another 100% on top of that, and then just a little bit more. So it was nice to see it. So even though they're not always results like that, they really do outsize if you have the timing right, which that technical analysis course can help you. And if you guys want further support in your journey towards building alpha in your portfolio, towards building financial freedom in your life, come on over to the Discord, which I've also partnered with StockMo as well. Joined that community, as it's an entire ecosystem there to support you in that process, through the up times, through the down times, talking about different trading ideas, having different trading tools, advanced charting tools, AI tools. The bread bot is over there as well, that can tell you when the massive moves are coming to your favorite place. A community of 1,000 members, a whole team of experts over there as well that you guys can absolutely check out. I believe the 3-day free trial is still active. The link is down in the description for the Discord, also for StockMo Academy. When you use code word doctor when you sign up for those courses, that'll save you $400. When you bundle the courses, you get a bundle discount on top of that $400 discount that you got from using the code word doctor. Guys, let me know what you think of Big Bear AI. Otherwise, I'll see you over in the Discord, and I hope that you learn a lot from those courses if you sign up for them. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.